Every day, people make claims about society. People say things like social media is ruining this generation, homework causes stress, or money makes people happier. The question sociologists ask is simple. How do we know if any of that is actually true? This is where scientific sociology comes in. Scientific sociology means studying society using careful, evidence-based methods, similar to what scientists use in fields like biology or chemistry. I'm that sociology teacher, and today we will be talking about how sociologists use science to test ideas about how society really works. One of the biggest goals of scientific sociology is understanding cause and effect. Sociologists want to know if one thing actually causes another thing to happen. For example, does social media use cause lower sleep levels in teenagers, or are those two things just connected in some way? To answer questions like this, sociologists use the scientific method. This is a process where researchers ask a question, research what is already known, form a hypothesis, collect data, analyze the data, and then draw conclusions. A hypothesis is basically an educated prediction. For example, a sociologist might predict that students who use their phones after midnight will report lower energy levels at school. To test hypotheses, sociologists study variables. Variables are things that can change. In research, there are two main types. The independent variable is the thing researchers think is causing change. The dependent variable is the thing that changes because of it. If we were studying phone use and energy levels, the independent variable would be how many hours a student uses their phone at night. The dependent variable would be how tired or energetic they feel at school the next day. But sociologists can't just study big ideas without defining them. They have to operationalize variables. Operationalizing a variable means turning a big concept into something measurable. For example, if you wanted to study stress, you would have to decide exactly how you are measuring stress. Maybe you measure it by hours of sleep, or by asking students to rate their stress from 1 to 10, or by counting how many assignments they have due in a week. Without operationalizing, different researchers might measure stress in completely different ways. When sociologists collect data, they also have to think about reliability and validity. Reliability means if you repeated the study, you would get similar results. If you survey students about stress today and then survey them again next week and get similar results, your research is probably reliable. Validity means you're actually measuring what you think you are measuring. For example, if you try to measure happiness by counting how many Instagram followers someone has, that might not be valid because followers don't necessarily equal happiness. Another important idea is correlation. Correlation means two things are related or move together, but one does not necessarily cause the other. For example, ice cream sales and sunburns both increase in the summer, but eating ice cream does not cause sunburns. Scientific sociology tries to go beyond correlation to figure out true cause and effect relationships. Sociologists also try to stay objective. Objectivity means researchers try not to let their personal opinions or experiences influence their results. For example, even if a researcher personally believes social media is harmful, they still have to follow whatever the data shows, even if the results are mixed or surprising. To gather data, sociologists use several types of research. One common method is surveys, where researchers ask large groups of people questions. For example, they might survey students about sleep habits or social media use. Another method is field research, where sociologists observe people in real-life settings, like watching how students interact in a cafeteria. Experiments are another method, where researchers change one variable to see what happens. For example, one group of students might be asked to put their phones away at 10 p.m., while another group keeps their normal routine. Sociologists also use secondary data analysis, which means using data that someone else already collected, like census data or public health data. Scientific sociology matters because it helps us understand social problems, test whether solutions actually work, and avoid making decisions based only on opinions or assumptions. It helps us connect personal experiences to larger social patterns, which is one of the main goals of sociology. Thank you for watching. Please follow the link below to access the vocabulary from this video and an assignment that can be used in your classroom.